Let's see if I can get chat messages up and running today. Welcome to our Thursday night no fee Tai Chi and Qigong. I think I'm going to do a little bit of a camera redirect here. Sorry about this. For some reason, it doesn't give a very good preview of exactly what we'll be seeing. I'll try and set that up a little better. Okay, there we go. Welcome, Thursday nights, no fee Tai Chi and Qigong. And I might try moving this to Monday nights because my wife tells me Monday nights would be a better night to do it. And I usually try and listen to her, especially when, dinner time and food is involved. So if Mondays would work better for you, please leave a comment, either in this video or the upload that I will do right after that. Thank you very much for joining me tonight. Tonight's Tai Chi and Qigong is going to be the opposite circle to the one we were working on last week. And last week we were working on our ward off, roll back, press, and push circle. So we were getting very much this thing happening. So ward off, roll back, press, and push. Very much having this sort of a feeling behind it. It's sort of a circular motion. This week, we're going to do the opposite circle. So I always like to think of this one as the nice circle. We're being very nice to our opponents here. Anything that is coming towards us, we are rising up to meet it, gently connecting to it, moving it gently out of the way, letting it sail by, coming back around, and going on about our day. Just letting the opponents go, woo, 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 sort of thing. The opposite circle to that, I think, is the naughty circle. If you have a nice circle, you have a naughty circle. This is Tai Chi after all. It's all yin and yang. So our naughty circle is the opposite, where we're pulling back, raising up our back, coming across the top, and then sinking down. So pulling, splitting, elbows, shoulders. These generally get thrown into the 8 trigram model as being wind, thunder, lake, and mountain. And you can spend a good deal of time meditating on those concepts, have done, still do. But they are something that is just, once you get the basic mechanics down, you start thinking about those more esoteric Tai Chi concepts. For tonight, we really want to focus on the circle and the quadrants of the circle. Much the same way as last week, we were assigning quadrants to the circle of that raising up being pung, top coming back is lu, the down, the press G, and then the forward push arn. We're going to do that same sort of thing with the quadrants of the naughty circle. So we're going to start forward at the bottom and the back. This is our wind. Rising up is thunder. Going across the top is elbow. Coming down is shoulder. Pull, split, elbow, shoulder. Wind, thunder, lake, and mountain. Wind, thunder, lake, mountain. And we get this circle happening. Let's just spend a little bit of time making this circle, feeling this circle out. I usually kind of get myself into a mindset of thinking about like those big waves at the coast that just come rising up out of the sea and crash against a seawall or a beach or something like that. And then they sink down and recede back into the ocean, and the next wave comes up and just crashes down. And that's imagery that works really quite well for me. Doing this sort of motion feels very natural at home. I kind of get the natural feeling of that, possibly because I was raised on the ocean. Prince Rupert, northwest coast of BC. I've seen a lot of waves crashing up against the shore. So this is a thing that just feels very natural to me. But honestly, whatever works best for you, like fits with your personality, your own, your own personality, your own experiences, your own past, like whatever visualization helps get you into this churning motion, things just churning over like this. I don't know. Maybe you had an old-fashioned water wheel on your property. Maybe you lived next to an old-fashioned train that was just chugging along. Maybe you had an old-fashioned train set that had those wheels, like whatever it is, that thing, that rolling feeling, we want to just get that into our system. So we start out as pretty typical with these sorts of things. Just copy the movement, like just mimic it as best you can. We are moving, quote unquote, externally, right? Where we are like literally pulling, raising up, pushing forward, sinking down, pull, up, push, down, up, push, down, right? Getting that really physical, visceral sort of movement. Once we have that feeling and we can connect to that feeling, that churning over, the rolling, then we start moving that internally. So if you've caught any of the previous ones or any of the little talks I've done or have any experience with this, you have come across the concept of Dantian before. Our physical center, our geographic center, that place in the middle of our body. It's about 3 fingers under your belly button, right in the center, yada, yada, yada. That's when we start really bringing our mind into Dantian. And again, we want to think rather than I am physically moving my body back, up, forward, down, back, up, forward, down. I want to start thinking like Dantian, my center itself, is the thing that is moving back, up, forward, down, back, up, forward, down, up, forward, down. That way, I don't have to work so hard, if I'm being perfectly honest. I've said it before, I'll say it again. Tai Chi is a lazy person's art. It's about doing as little work as possible. And if I want to move my entire mass which is more massive than I would care for it to be, that is going to take work. It is going to take a bunch of muscular force. But if I'm just moving this tiny little area right in the center of my body, I'm just moving that. That doesn't take nearly as much force. It doesn't take hardly any energy at all, really. So I just let that sink back, come up, go forward and down. And then my hands get to go for the ride. My body gets to go for the ride. Where I start really getting into this circle. And the whole thing just goes over and over and over. So those are the two primary circles in Yang style Tai Chi. One, our grass sparrow's tail, where we're coming under, back, down, and forward. And now we have back, up, over, and down. Those are our two primary circles. Most of Yang style Tai Chi is built on those two circles. You are going to have different types of footwork. You are going to have a bunch of different hand postures that are going to go this way and that way and this way and that way and do all sorts of funky things. But underneath that, the underpinnings, the thing that is powering it, the engine of those, are most of the time either this circle or this circle. Now, where we get our pull, split, elbow, shoulder, sort of translations of wind, thunder, lake, and mountain, is from a series in Yang style Tai Chi, as far as I've seen it, pretty much always beginning with a posture called lift hands. And lift hands starts out as a single-legged stance. And we haven't done any single-legged stances on this channel so far. This is a new thing for tonight. But our single-legged stances are essentially built on having our weighted leg, the leg that has 100% of our body weight, off on a 45-degree angle. So that is going to be 45 degrees from whatever we are calling ahead. Our unweighted leg is kept basically on the same line as our heel. You might see here that my heel is just touching this painter's tape line. And my front foot here, if I put it on the toe, is going to be on that line. And we also do stances where we have the foot up and we're touching on the heel. And the heel is also going to be basically just on that line. So single-legged stances in Yang style Tai Chi are, for the most part, I'm not going to say 100%, although in my experience, yes, 100%, they're always kept on a line. You won't see a single-legged stance out here or out here. They're always kept nice and tight. I mean, you might step offline to take an actual bow and arrow stance or something like that, but when you are in a single-legged stance, it is on a line. Our lift hands posture, our lift hands single-legged stance, is going to be one where our rear foot is on a 45 degree, our front foot is on that line, and we are touching with the heel to the ground. I can still freely pick this up without affecting anything, without throwing off my balance, my center. All right, so I still have 100% of my weight here. Now, the front leg, even though it is unweighted and I'm on my heel, it is not collapsed, right? I don't have my legs straight. Now you can see the difference between having my knee locked out and bent there and having just a tiny bit of that bend to my knee. So I'm keeping some structure there. I'm not letting my knee collapse. That is a recipe for getting it kicked and destroyed. Now, once we have that set up, all our weight here, our lead hand matches our lead foot. So in this case, I'm standing on my right leg. My lead foot is my left. That is the one that is sticking out front. So my left hand is taking the lead for the hands. And what I'm doing here is I'm just bringing up my hand, nice open posture, bringing it straight up my center line and looking over the tip of my index finger. If I switch legs here, over to this side, now my right leg is my lead leg, so my right hand is my lead hand, and I bring it up my center line to the point where I can look at my opponent over top of that tip of my index finger. My rear hand matches my rear leg, and that comes up on my center line as well and hangs out by my elbow. So we're going to find that a lot in our Tai Chi postures, where we have a couple of hands that are forward. One is always going to be more extended than the other, and the rear hand is going to be hanging out pretty close to the elbow of our lead hand. They will switch. So if I were to take a step into another one, take a step back, same sort of thing. They're just sort of switching position here. One is further ahead, the other one hangs out by the elbow. Both of them give me space. So even that closer in hand, I still have some space to my body. This one here gives me a bunch more space to my body, right? So we're basically setting up layers of defense for anything coming in at us. Even if it gets past the first layer, I have to pass it off to the second layer, right? Reattack here, still have defense here. Always constantly switching and keeping it up, not letting things come in and like right up against my body. So when we take up our lift hands posture, which is going to start to look like the showdown pose for every Kung Fu movie you have ever seen. I mean, one of the opponents will be doing some sort of like crazy stance, but the true master will be standing there very calmly, just hands out, waiting. And this is an awesome stance if you want to start working on your single-legged stances, your single-legged balance, really challenge your structure. Once, standing in horse stance like this for 15, 20 minutes is kind of like, yeah, that's easy. Start working on single-legged stuff. Believe me, when you start out here, 60 seconds is going to seem like an eternity to just be hanging out on one leg with 100% of your weight there. Just relaxing into that. Being able to lift at any point. You will find yourself starting to cheat, or you'll start putting more of your weight forward. And then you're going to try and lift that leg and you won't be able to. You have to shift your weight back. It's like, right? But you can work up, build that up, your single leg stances, time, all that sort of stuff. I am currently doing a balance challenge with these Weeble boards you see over here. And I do 4 minutes each leg doing white crane. So 4 minutes hanging out with 100% of my weight on this leg, followed by 4 minutes hanging out with 100% of my weight on that leg. It's grueling, but it's getting better. So Awesome, awesome training. Highly recommended. Let's continue on. So we start out with our lift hands. So we're taking our Kung Fu, come get me sort of pose, right? And to get into that, what we want to do is, oh, we got a comment. Hi, I subscribed, Chloe. Hey, Chloe, thanks. Right, to get into it, we place our foot down, sinking 100% of our weight onto there. And from there, we want to rise up, lifting our hands, lifting our leg, bringing our lead hand and leg forward, and then allowing our foot to come down on line. And already with this, we are getting a little bit of this circle we've been working on, this overturning circle, where we're rising up, coming forward, and we're getting all three limbs involved in this. We're creating this sort of a circle, right? And with this, there's lots and lots of different martial applications to it. Obviously, very much with this leg lifting up. That little kick there is absolutely devastating if you want to learn like true martial arts kicking. Don't worry about trying to kick somebody up in the head. They will see it coming. Whereas if you got your hands up here and you're distracting them and you do that and just stomp down on their ankle or their shin or their knee or anything like that, they will not see that coming and they will not be chasing after you. So that is a very good thing to look for. Let's see, live chat here. I remind you of your grandpa. Aw, I'm just going to assume that you really liked your grandpa. So thank you, Chloe. Right. Lifting up, hands and leg come forward, sinking down, kicking them in the shin. All right. Here, these hands coming up and over, we're lifting, grabbing, pulling. We can chop down, anything like that. But really, this is more like get our hands into the action. A lot of what we are doing when we do our Tai Chi, like the beginning of a movement or the beginning of a series of movements, is finding a way to like reach out, make contact and with our opponent. And the more places we can make contact, the better, because what we're really looking for is information. In Tai Chi, the opponent always makes the first move. They are responsible for our movement. They give us the energy, the power to move. And in order to do that, we have to get information from them. To get that information, we have to make contact. We have to feel what is going on with our opponent. So you will see this right from the beginning movement of Tai Chi, where we're lifting our hands up, making contact with the opponent, resolving the tension. We hold a ball, deflecting, grabbing, getting information, so that we can continue on with our movements. This is no different. Get information. From here, the information that I'm getting in this scenario that the form is laying out is someone has gone to throw a punch and gravity is starting to take hold. Right? All attacks are going to be subject to gravity. If you throw a punch at somebody, it is going to go up, 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 and it is going to extend. And if it just keeps going, the arc of gravity is going to take it down. Well, that's what we're going to do. We're going to reach up and go, oh, this wants to go down. And that is how our lift hands becomes pull. Lift hands, pull. So we get our hands in there, we get information, we're meeting it here, stepping back, pull. So that's the first part of our circle. We're raising up into lift hands, grab, pull. And as we pull, I'm maintaining 100% rear weighted. So my weight isn't changing, but what is changing is the orientation of my hips. So when I do my lift hands and I step in, my hips are oriented over this front foot. So they're perpendicular to the front foot. My hips are pointed forward. Right? As I pull, I'm going to allow my hip to rotate on my standing leg about 45 degrees. And my body and my hips orient themselves over this rear leg. So it's about 45 degrees this way now. Lifting up, pull. And that basically takes no real energy. Let's be honest with ourselves. All we're doing is letting our hands drop and our body swing. Right? This takes nothing to do, which is a real advantage to us because we're lazy. We're Tai Chi people. We like being lazy. Don't expend any extra energy. Hands up, let gravity take them. Gravity, it's free energy. It's just always going down. We're just going to be a guide for that energy, right? Opponent comes up, tries to attack us, and down it goes. That is our idea of wind. So if it happens to be particularly windy where you are someday, go out, feel the wind, play with it. Oh, hi, Chloe. Lots of hands. Okay, next we have split. Split is where we've gone over the bottom of the circle. Split is where the circle starts to rise up. Right? Down and rise up. And an interesting thing happens with that, with our hands, which gives us the reason it is called split, is because we're splitting the direction of the energy. And it looks a little like this. So we let the hands drop down and pull as we rotate. Then as I split, the energy starts coming back up the circle, up my spine, and my hips are going to rotate back forward again. And my rear hand is going to come up and around that way. But my lower hand, my lead hand, is still going to keep going this way. So I'm splitting the direction of the energy. These things are going two different directions. We had one energy that was going this way. The opponent's entire mass is moving this way. But when I split, I start rotating that hip and the hands move opposite each other. And you get this action, which means that while 100% of their mass is going this way, I'm going to take some of their mass and actually make it start going the other way. The way this is usually demonstrated, which I can't do here because I don't have a training dummy, is someone goes to punch and they get pulled down and they start getting dragged this way. And then that other hand comes back up and goes. And so you wind up with that sort of thing. So their body is going this way while their head is going back that way. This is the moment when I was first starting to study Tai Chi that I realized, oh, this is a soft martial art, but not necessarily a nice martial art. It is still a martial art. It was very much designed to, kick ass in ancient China, and was very successful at it, which is why we know it today. All the health benefits and everything, total side effect. So we've got our lift hands, we've got our pull. split. So I'm raising back up over the top. Then next up, we've got that much of the circle. Coming back over the top, we have a little bit of a direction change that happens here. And in our Tai Chi forms, they're usually designed in such a way to provide a mock scenario for how this might go down, sort of thing. And for this one, how it might go down is actually dealing with multiple attackers. So we've got our first guy here, right? And he goes to throw a punch at us, or we meet him in our Kung Fu stance. We go, yeah, and pull. He's going down. We smack his head on the way by. So he's done. Like, we do not need to worry about him anymore. But he's got a buddy right here who's about to go for us. He sees what we've just done to his friend. He's not happy about it. He wants to attack us now. So what we have to do is come up over the top of whatever he's doing, and we are going to throw elbows. We're going to throw elbows, and we're going to lift that knee up just subtly. It doesn't have to be a huge movement. Like, you can go like that, but it's normally done very, very subtly, where we're just slightly lifting the leg. Right? So we're kind of guarding here. Maybe he's got something coming up at us, and we want to get that, clear that out of the way. Pull, split, start taking out his buddy. Then we step kind of off to the side here. And what we're going to do is we're going to lean in with a shoulder. So these two movements, the elbow and the shoulder, are very represented in this set of movements, but they are in absolutely everything. And the reason is, dealing with primary energies, like we have been dealing with, like our Pung, the universal expansion, the Lu, the universal contraction, presses water, pushes fire, right? We have our wind and our thunder. When it comes to lake and mountain, lake has an imagery of very, very deep and still waters. Like, we're talking like a big lake here, right? And it is very deep and very deep and very still. It is calm. But the top of the lake, that is easily disturbed by things like wind, and you start to get water and choppiness. So the reason this becomes elbow, and my personal opinion is it should be elbow / knee / anything changing, is because we might say, for instance, in a gross example, if we were to be like ready to punch, right? And you go to punch and somebody knocks that away. Well, rather than just be going straight and having that knocked away on us, we could let just the forearm get knocked away, and then the elbow keeps going, right? So lake has this connotation in that this deep stillness, this undisturbed thing, that's the thing coming from here. That's coming from our dantian. That's the thing that's moving in this direction. And I'm going to swing out with whatever it is. But if that happens to get moved or changed, the whole thing is still going, right? And that's what we're really getting with our lake energy here, is our center, our mass, everything is still really moving there. And I could be reaching out here and having that deflected, and that becomes the elbow, but the whole thing is still moving. And it's the same thing with our legs and knees. If this is moving out like for a kick or something and the lower leg gets blocked, you still have the knee that's in there that is guarding, that could reattack, that, you know, it's still in the game. My mass is still in the game. Everything's still moving. The ends of these things, well, that can be changed. That can move. That can be fluid. That can do whatever it needs to do. And that's really the idea that we have behind Lake, is this deep, still thing is going, but the surface of it can change shape. It can move. It can fit into cracks. It can do the unexpected thing, attack in weird angles, stuff that is hard to defend against. And that's, again, a byproduct of getting our hands up there and into the fight and getting information, feel how the opponent is moving. If they really want to move this way and they want to move my hand out of the way, fine, move my hand out of the way. There's my elbow. It's coming right in for you. So that's what we're really getting with Lake, is we pull, split, elbow, and then we sink in with mountain. And mountain is usually translated as shoulder. Again, I think that's cutting it a little bit short. It's not really fully descriptive, because what I'm thinking of as shoulder is, sure, it starts at my shoulder, but it doesn't end until basically my hip, and the lowest part of my hip at that. I want this entire surface hitting, right? Everything there. Like if you go up against a wall and you shoulder, are you just hitting your shoulder, or are you hitting your shoulder and ribs? Are you hitting your shoulder, ribs, and hips? The whole thing should all go as one, right? The whole side of the body, just boom. And if you get a chance to, well, if you got a wall, you can do that. Heavy bags, also awesome training for this. Like step in and just really just hit with the whole side of your body. You will move that heavy bag. I don't care what weight it is. If you get that full connection there, it's awesome. And so that's what we're really doing here with our shoulder, is when we sink in, we want shoulder down to hip. We want to think that whole thing is making contact with the opponent. Okay. So again, we have our lift hands, pull, split, elbow, all right, off to the side here, guarding, knee, elbow up, anything that's coming at me. So elbow, and I step to the side and I shoulder. Now my lower hand here, this is just nice and relaxed. It's hanging out on my center. As a matter of fact, it's the exact same thing as our hugging our tree or our ward off or any number of moves. It's just hanging out down here. So this is nice and low. This is guarding everything down here. My other hand is up, and it can be up near the face or down by the shoulder, anything like that. I just want to make sure it is in the action, right? I'm not going to shoulder here and just have this hanging out, right? This is back here, just in case, right? So lift hands, pull, split, elbow, shoulder. And this is also where we are seriously shifting our weight now too. Like we're really dropping it into the other leg. We've had it stationary on our standing leg from lift hands, pull, split, elbow. So when I step down here, I am shifting all of my weight across. Remember, I've also come across the top in Lake, so I'm going down, letting the circle complete itself, driving down the front. And that lets my entire mass drop and sink. And remember, This is mountain energy we're talking about here. Drop a mountain on your opponent. Here, we're wind. Insubstantial. Here, thunder. Violent reversal of direction. Really shock the system. Lake. Deep movement. Changeable surface. And here, we are a mountain. From the other side. Lift hands. Hands drop. Pull. Hips reverse. Split. Elbow. Step. Shoulder. Lift hands. Wind. Thunder. Lake. Mountain. And that's our not so nice circle. The way it is most commonly demonstrated in early Yang style Tai Chi. Most Yang style Tai Chi forms are going to start out getting grass sparrow's tail and this pull down, split elbow, shoulder in somewhere close to the beginning of the form. They are the 8 primary energies. And so if you've even done a little bit of Tai Chi, you've probably come across them before. Now, the pull is very commonly shown, and the shoulder is very commonly shown. You might not have come across the split and elbow. They can tend to get lost in certain styles, systems, whatever. They're just not emphasized, really. They are very, a lot of them you'll see Tai Chi people going pull, shoulder. Kind of those two things. Right? Very, just glazing over, I guess, or not emphasizing those extra little split and elbow things that you can do in there. But it's not really anything to be concerned about, or it's just a different emphasis in teaching styles. The thing to really get out of any of them, though, is that circle, and start to feel that circle happening, right? Feel the pull, the split, the elbow, and the shoulder. And it's, in a way, it's nice because this sequence really illustrates the certain characteristics of this circle. But because there is the direction shift in there, it can be a little bit trickier to feel out that circle necessarily. And there are some other movements in Yang style Tai Chi that I do think kind of exemplify that churning over feeling a little better, or a little easier to grasp right away and to see. And my prime candidate for that one is deflect down, parry, punch as a little sequence. There is a video dedicated to that on this channel. It is in the favorite moves section. Matter of fact, it's the only one in that favorite moves section for right now. I do have to work on that. And it starts out from our brush knee twist step, which if you've ever done any Tai Chi before, this will be a very common thing to you to see something like this. And deflect down, parry, punch is working on starting off by going down, drawing back. The parry comes over the top. And then we have the punch as well. So this, we very much get a circle going over, going over, going over, boom. So you get this feeling churning over with that sequence of moves. So that one is one of my favorites to investigate if you're having trouble feeling the circle out in this. But the other way that is also totally valid is just doing this. Grab a bow and arrow stance and churn this circle over. Right. Over and over and over again. When you get bored of that, do this circle. Over and over and over. If you want to get all silk reeling with it, you want to change directions, draw a little yin-yang symbol. And it doesn't matter what your hands are doing, like what positions they're in, anything with this, right? Just let them flow. Let this whole thing just kind of move your body in nice, relaxed, gentle, and fun ways. Right? So you can always just do this circle over and over and over and over again. Feel it out. Once you get the mechanics of it and can just draw a circle at random, at will, I should say, get your mind down into your dantian and move that circle round and round and round and round. Once you do that, we can get into movements like pull, split, elbows and shoulders, or deflect downs, parries, and punches. And plenty of other moves. I wasn't kidding at the beginning of this video when I said, like the vast bulk of Tai Chi, Yang style Tai Chi, like 80% of it, you could probably sum up as being primary mover of this circle or this circle. And you're just, once you start to see it, you're going to notice it like absolutely everywhere. I was telling my students today, Tai Chi is really just very simple movement mechanics and circles. It's basically weight shifts and circles. And those two circles make up so much of Yang style Tai Chi. There is other ones, not gonna, but we'll get into some of those later on. There is, because, well, think about it. You can do this circle, and you can do this circle. You can do this circle, we can do this circle. You can do this circle, and you can do this circle. If you can do all 6 of those circles, the whole thing opens up for you, right? So those two are the primary ones. How are we doing for time here? Yeah, pretty close. Those two are the primary ones to really, really work on, especially early on in your Tai Chi development. Just do them over and over and over and over and over again. It's way more important than forms. It's way more important than movements. It's way more important than hand postures. Like, just do it without your hands. Forget those things. Just, circle. Circle, circle, do the other circle, right? Go the other way. If you really get those into your system, start noticing them throughout the Tai Chi form, then the rest is just choreography. It's what am I doing with my hands while those circles are moving. So I hope you enjoyed that. Chloe, thanks for saying hi in there. I'm going to check the comments, see if there's anything else that popped up. Yep, Chloe. All right. Well, thanks for laying out. Thanks for chatting in there. I understand it helps with the algorithm. At least So I've been told. Not entirely sure how this whole YouTube thing works for the most part. I do watch a lot of it, but I don't understand the inner workings. So thank you very much for joining me, sticking with me. This is going to go live basically as soon as I'm done. It's going to upload. And yeah, questions, comments, anything like that, fire them down below. We will see you next Thursday at 6:30 here, and new videos released Mondays, Fridays, and whenever else I feel like it. Have a great night. Thanks.